The Atlanta City Council approves legislation amending the fiscal year 2022 general fund budget in the amount of $2 million by transferring funds to support green space improvements and upgrades in underserved neighborhoods across Atlanta. Funds allocated by the city and matched by the philanthropic community will be used exclusively in community development impact areas, where at least 51% of the population earns 80% or below of the area median income. The council greenlights an ordinance authorizing the issuance of $4 million for general obligation bonds for renovations to various fire stations and police precincts. The council says yes to an ordinance amending the city's Code of Ordinances to incorporate Georgia Code Section 25-5-14 Firefighters Mediation Act to allow City of Atlanta firefighters to negotiate terms of employment, including pay, benefits, hours, leave, job health, and safety policies through a collective bargaining process. The council votes in favor of an ordinance ratifying the mayor's executive order authorizing the transfer of up to $3.5 million from the city's uncommitted fund balance to Partners for Home to house people experiencing homelessness. For more recently approved legislation, please visit our website, citycouncil.atlantagaA.gov. This has been your Atlanta City Council Legislative Minute. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Stay at Home Connect. I'm Phyllis Jackson. The Biden administration reveals its COVID-19 vaccination plans for children between the ages of 5 and 11, pending FDA approval. Administration officials say they have enough of the Pfizer vaccine for 28 million children, which would be administered at doctors' offices, pharmacies, and schools. The FDA is expected to authorize the vaccines for children in a few weeks. Health officials in the UK are concerned and are monitoring a new subtype of the Delta variant. The 1642 descendant accounts for about 6% of new cases, and they are increasing. Although there's little information about the variant, experts suggest it could be slightly more transmissible than the original Delta variant. Atlanta City Council member Marcy Collier Overstreet partners with several local organizations for a COVID-19 vaccination concert at Greenbrier Mall.
It's a COVID relief concert because we know that COVID is still in our communities. We know we have to vaccinate more people, and we're trying to figure out all ways to get that done. And so today, we have Morehouse School of Medicine administering all of the vaccinations, and we are letting people get vaccinations for first dose, second dose, boosters, whatever it takes for our communities to be very safe. We have food trucks here today, and the absolute best part of today is that we have the best talent. We have Kiki Wyatt, Tony Terry, Jukebox, Anthony David, and I'm partnering with the NAACP, Greenbrier Mall, and everyone to make sure that this is going to be a very successful vaccination day and that our community is having a good time. We are standing here at Greenbrier Mall, the legendary Greenbrier Mall, and today we're having a vaccination concert. It's a COVID relief concert because we know that COVID is still in our communities. We know we have to vaccinate more people, and we're trying to figure out all ways to get that done. And so today we have Morehouse School of Medicine administering all of the vaccinations, and we are letting people get vaccinations for first dose, second dose, boosters, whatever it takes for our communities to be very safe. We have food trucks here today, and the absolute best part of today is that we have the best talent. We have Kiki Wyatt, Tony Terry, Jukebox, Anthony David, and I'm partnering with the NAACP, Greenbrier Mall, and everyone to make sure that this is going to be a very successful vaccination day and that our community is having a good time. I see the lawn chairs and all of the food trucks, and I'm excited about it. Can't wait to get over and see the concert myself.
And 2, 3.
We're out here today in Pittsburgh community, of which I'm so proud to be in. And we actually took an old school that was Parks Middle School, and actually through Atlanta Public School System and Atlanta Tech, we now have our first official Atlanta Career Academy. And this academy is a preparation for college and careers. So with this school that's been converted for high school kids into an academy, from 10th through 12th grade, if you decide that you want to prep for college, or if you decide that you are now job ready, you want to be job ready and you want to go out and get a job, you can actually come here to this school. It's a beautiful collaboration, and they have so many programs, EMT programs, so many programs, culinary art, food, carpentry, HVAC, dental, hygienes, also personal care. When I finished high school, I knew that I didn't have money to go off to college. But what I liked that Booker T. Washington in the 70s had me job ready. So from the time I finished high school at Booker T. Washington, my counselors and folks at the school said, Joyce, if you're not going to college, we're going to have you job ready. That's what this academy is now doing. It's making kids who may not go to college. Everybody may not be college material. But if we can, in the high school, capture those folks and make sure that they're ready, job ready when they finish high school, that's what this program does. I want to thank Ishay Collins and the Atlanta Board of Education for actually having a vision to do this. I'm happy to be here today.
One, two, three. Yay! We are rolling out a citywide initiative. It's about recycling. We are at Community Grounds Coffee Shop, and that is appropriate because today is about paper cups going into your recycling bin. So everyone that has a blue bin in the city of Atlanta can now, when they come home with their coffee cup from Starbucks or Community Grounds, they can put their coffee cups in, they rinse them out, of course, and then they can put them in their recycle bin. So they will not go into the trash anymore. So what we're doing is we are taking things out of the green bin and putting more things into the recycling bin. So the city of Atlanta already takes a whole lot of things in the blue bin, but today is the kickoff of accepting paper cups. So it's exciting. Yes, it's very exciting.
You just want to brush away the substrate around the trunk like this.
I am so happy to be here in historic Collier Heights, partnering with Trees Atlanta and Berean Seventh-day Adventist. We are here planting trees, celebrating Plantlanta. We will be planting over 100 trees, and some of the trees even have edible fruit. So we're excited to have all of the volunteers right here in historic Collier Heights. We want to be thankful because trees protect our environment, and we're just here to have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Ms. Lindo, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair. I was just unmuted.
Okay. Hopefully we have a quorum, so I'll go ahead and get started. This is Councilmember George Shepherd, Chair of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee. And we'd like to officially call the meeting to order. Ms. Lindo, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Councilmember Justin Hillis. Councilmember Carla Smith. Here. Councilmember Andrea O'Boone. Councilmember Cleta Winslow. Let's try again. Councilmember Carla Smith. I'm sorry, Councilmember Cleta Winslow.
Present. No. Present.
Councilmember Andrea O. Thank you, Ms. Winslow. Councilmember Andrea O'Boone. Councilmember Michael Julian Bond.
That during their national recovery from the COVID-19.
Councilmember Bond. Madam Chair,
I only heard confirmation for 3. That's myself, Carla, and Ms. Winslow. So I'm not sure if we have any other. If any other council members are present, please state your name. Mr. Bond. Ms. Boone. And I believe Mr. Hiroki is not going to be present with us today.
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bond. Ms. Boone. Let's give it a few moments. We'll hesitate for a minute, and maybe we can reach out to them, Ms. Lindo, to see if they're coming, so that we can have a call, so we can start the meeting.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm asking the people in the audience to please hold tight for a moment, please.
Madam Chair, I believe Councilmember Boone may be on the call at this time.
Ms. Boone? Is she unmuted?
Staff is indicating that Ms. Boone is on and is unmuted.
Ms. Boone? Ms. Boone or Mr. Bond? I just text Ms. Boone. Let's see if she responds back. I'm going to try to reach out to Mr. Bond also. I'll text him too.
Hello, I was muted. Hello? Madam Chair?
Right. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you, Mr. Bond. Do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you the whole time.
Okay.
I was muted. Thank you.
Okay. We officially have a quorum, and we've officially called the meeting to order. I think Ms. Boone just texted me and said she's calling in now, so let's hope she'll be in very shortly. Thank you. Ms. Linda, would you go ahead and read the remote meeting statement, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Today's Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee meeting will be conducted remotely as advertised and in accordance with Georgia Code Section 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting conference bridge toll-free by dialing 404-902-5066 and entering conference ID number 151945. This information was also provided on the Friday, October 22nd, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlanta.ga.gov, Facebook and Twitter pages at ATL Council, and the Council's YouTube channel. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council website and accessible via the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee presentations page. Today's meeting agenda was also published and made available on Friday, October 22nd via the city's website at atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. In addition, the public is able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6022 yesterday between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. These comments will be played during the public comment portion of this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to please mute your phones and speakers. Meeting participants wishing to speak must be acknowledged by the committee chair. All amendments, substitutes, presentations, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. I'm just going to check again. Ms. Boone, are you there?
Boone, present.
Thank you, Ms. Boone. Thank you. So we now have an official quorum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I believe Councilmember Hillis is also on the line, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Hillis, we didn't call your name. How did we miss you? Mr. Hillis.
Yeah, I'm present. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're now at the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So move.
All right. Is there a second?
Second, Hillis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hillis. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
All right. Ms. Boone, are you in the system or are you voting?
I am voice voting.
All right.
Yes.
How are you voting?
Yes.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. That's 6 yeas, 0 nays. The meeting agenda has been adopted.
Thank you. We'll now move to approval of our minutes from our last meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Thank you, Ms. Boone. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you.
Will everyone please vote? Mr. Hillis?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Hillis.
The vote is closed. At 6 yeas, 0 nays. The meeting minutes have been approved.
All right. Thank you.
We're now down to public comments. I believe we have 3 comments. Ms. Lindo, we are ready.
One moment, Madam Chair.
Greetings, council members and staff. A special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action between now and November 2nd. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Fewer than 50. 3 council districts, Council District 11, Council District 12, and post 3 at large. Yet fewer than 50. Residents, non-residents, presenters, visitors, guests, and representatives of city departments and city officials are present at any given neighborhood planning unit or meeting. Oversight by the city planning department, and yet fewer than 50. Crime running rampant, and the NPUR Public Safety Committee disbanded after Loretta Green left, yet fewer than 50. The neighborhoods of Adams Park, Fort Valley, Greenbrier, Lawrence Valley, Pomona Park, and Southwest, yet fewer than 50. Churches with active congregations, including Mount Carmel, the Love Center, Greater New Life, St. Mark, and St. Peter, yet fewer than 50. American Legion Post 911 and Campbellton Road Business and Merchants Association, yet fewer than 50. Advocates like Edith Latipo, Ben Howard, and Ron Secure standing ready to rally the community to combat homelessness, income inequality, high water bills, and environmental injustice, yet fewer than 50. Why fewer than 50? Because standing in the way of more than 50 are Antonita Robinson, Colas Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Renato Scott, Albert White, Allison Hathaway, Cheryl Brown, Sherry Williams, Agent X, and those undercover NPUR 9 allies and neighbors and supporters who don't want more than 50.
Even though it's Spirit of Christ, my name is Henry Jordan. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. John 15, chapter 6 verse. This refers to the judgment of believers at the judgment seat of Christ. And Montgomery, do you desire for Jesus to kill you? Strive not with the man without a cause. If he have done thee no harm. Proverbs 3rd chapter 30th verse. These that spoiled and was not spoiled, in reference to the Antichrist and his kingdom. Then it shall be because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, of the thing which he had deceitfully gotten, of that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found. Leviticus 6 chapter 4 verse. The man who killed an ox had to pay his owner enough for him to buy another, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, and handling the word of God deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of God. 2 Corinthians 4th chapter 2nd verse. The fear of the Lord is best understood in a general sense of the fear of the Lord, as it is found throughout the scriptures. Do you feel how you treat another person? The fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. Good afternoon, City Council. I know this public safety. I'm dressing into District 11 Overstreet. I know y'all working together. It's very important that I'm coming again about safety on street. Our street is not safe. It's not marked right. Fire, I know you're supporting the Overstreet. You better get a contract. Whatever she promised you. The streets is not safe. We don't have no sidewalk. I am so afraid that these children are going to get hit walking to school. And Overstreet, just like you got a 501c3, Mama knows best. If you know best, you should have been paid this street. You received the money. We should not have to wait until the news flash. Box, whatever you want to call it, is our tax dollar. So what did you do with the money? We should not have never have to wait until 21-22 to get these streets paid. We see the sign. How long that sign been sitting up there? Oh, it do look pretty. But in action, that's what we need to know. Mama know best. And I bet you have a 501c3. And whatever you want to get for that 501c3 Overstreet, you make sure you get that funded. And why did you then treat us the same way in District 11 to pay our street? Mama know best. If you know best, you will do right.
That concludes the public comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We're now up on the communications, and we'll sound item number 1, Ms. Lindo.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's 21C-0139. This is a communication from Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms appointing Ms. Priscilla Carter to serve as a member of the License Review Board. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
Is Ms. Carter here? Is this Ms. Carter? Can we unmute Ms. Carter if she's present? Ms. Lindo?
One moment, Madam Chair.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and council members. Yes, this is Priscilla Carter, and I am being reappointed to the License Review Board. I previously served on the board for the past 6 years, and this is the reappointment for an additional 2 years. I look forward to your support, as I'm very interested and I'm vested as a resident of the city to ensure that we're bringing, events and restaurants that reflect our neighborhoods and that are good neighbors as well.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Are there any questions for Ms. Carter?
Move approval.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there a second? I'll second. So we're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
One moment. The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Nay.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Nay.
Okay. Mr. Hillis, how do you vote? Are you on the system?
Yes, Madam Chair, the vote is closed. That's 5 yeas, 1 nay. This item is favorable.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Carter, for your service. We appreciate you. We're now up under presentations. Our first is our Atlanta Police Department. This is their bi-weekly presentation. So we'll ask Assistant Chief Coit, to come forward and give us this update. Assistant Chief Coit, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Councilmember Shepherd and other council members. Can we go to slide number 2, which is titled 2021 Covert Report? The Covert Report, it will show the current...
Madam Chair, one moment. Just 1 moment. We're getting these. Okay. Yes, we're ready now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Coit.
The 2021 Covert Report will show the last week, the 28-day, and also year-to-date crime numbers. We also have the fall plan, which is also in place. We believe our fall plan that has followed the summer plan is helping bring down some of the crime numbers. This current report shows that violent crime is trending down. The 28-day homicides are down by 55%, which of course is a good thing. The shooting victims are also down 30%, and robberies are down 24%. Overall crime is at 10% right now, year to date. But if we compare this to 2019, it is down by 12%. And also, you will see at the bottom of the page, it shows property crime accounts for 83% of the crime, and violent crime 17% of the crime. We have several initiatives which I will be talking about to address the property crime and also the violent crime. Can we go to slide number 3, please? It will be titled Downtown Auto Theft Recoveries. Auto thefts are also trending down 8% for the 28-day. We have our Zone 5 Tactical Traffic Unit, our Auto Crimes Enforcement Unit, our High Intensity Traffic Unit, our Motors Unit, and also our Zone Officers that are participating in these initiatives. Last week, the media covered a story where we had a Zone 5 officer who was on the Tactical Traffic Unit. He himself has recovered 37 stolen autos since April. That's some outstanding work. 60% of the stolen vehicles still have the keys in them or are left running. So I am asking again to the public, if you are in the Atlanta area, please take your keys out of the vehicle. And if you leave your vehicle, please do not have the vehicle running, because it makes it easy for individuals to jump in and steal the car. When this is happening, we found that a lot of people, they're going shopping, they're going to gas stations, and also our food delivery workers. They'll run into an apartment building or run up to a house, and they'll leave a car open or a car on, and somebody just jumps in and steals the car. So it makes it hard. We're recovering vehicles, but it still counts as a stolen vehicle. Can we go to slide number 4, please? Slide number 4 is going to show the larceny from auto detail. A few highlights for this is that we've refocused how we're going at these issues. We're doing it geography-based. We're not just looking at a specific beat. We're narrowing in on a specific street or maybe a parking deck. We're also looking at wanted individuals, juvenile offenders. We find that a lot of repeat offenders are doing this also. When individuals break into cars, they're looking for weapons, handguns. When they do this, they take the weapons and use those weapons to commit other crimes. Also, the stolen vehicles are being used to commit the auto larcenies. So they both go hand in hand. We have our zone field investigative team, or our plainclothes units, are focusing in on these crimes. We're getting help from Georgia State Patrol. We also have our repeat offender unit that's helping on this initiative. As I mentioned, we're focusing on specific areas. We're following up on offenders. We're talking with probation officers. We're following up with warrants to make sure that we get these people off the street as fast as possible. And those handguns were just some of the weapons that were recovered last week during the larceny from auto detail. Can you go to slide number 5, please? Slide number 5 is going to be the violent offender apprehension. This right here shows a couple of individuals that were arrested last week. This was in collaboration with our Auto Crimes Enforcement Unit, our Gangs Unit, our Air Unit, and also our K9 Unit, which has the dogs. These individuals right here were responsible for taking a vehicle by force, also known as a carjacking. They were tracked to a house. The officers were able to get the individuals to come out of the house. But as you see listed on here, all of the individuals were fairly young in age, but they were they're known to the Atlanta Police Department quite frequently. We've arrested the individuals previously, and as you see, those charges up there are what they were arrested for: carjacking, aggravated assault, and stolen auto. I just wanted to give a quick win or show what the officers have been doing out on the street. And the last page, please. The last page will also be titled Violent Offender Apprehension. I wanted to bring this case up because this was a case that happened earlier in the year, in which a juvenile female was shot and killed on Glenwood Avenue. This shows that our homicide team and also our fugitive team, they don't stop until the case is fully closed. Back in May, our homicide unit and fugitive unit, they arrested a couple of people connected to that homicide. But just last week, they arrested Mr. Tariq Greer in connection with this homicide also. So, unfortunately, someone lost their life, but I just wanted to show that our homicide unit never rests until they get everything closed out on the case. That is all I have for today, and I will be ready to answer any questions that anyone has.
Any questions from my colleagues?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Bond, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Deputy Chief Court, for being here and being ever diligent and making your reports and for the job that you do. I just have a question about these stolen cars that are used in subsequent crimes. Do you all track that number? Because I know cars get stolen all the time, but they're not always used, obviously, in the commission of another crime. Do you track the ones that are?
Yes, we do track the ones that are used in other crimes. Yes, I don't have that number with me available, but I can get that number back to you later.
Yes, if you would just make that a part of your next report, I would appreciate it. And my next question is an issue that is not as urgent as our crime rate, but a concern that some officers have brought to me. I know that, but it relates to police cars, not stolen cars. I know that when COVID began, or even before that, we had a contract at one of these car washes to make sure that the APD cars were clean. And as COVID began, I know that they were spraying down the cars, to make sure that there wasn't a transfer of, potential virus or other contagious materials from one shift to another. It's my understanding that that's no longer occurring. The cars being cleaned, or that they're being, I guess, decontaminated from shift to shift. Do you have an update on why that might be happening or why that seems to cease? I actually shared an article on my Facebook page today that was published that said that there have been more police officers in this last year that have died from COVID-19 that actually were killed in the line of duty. So the individual came to me, they were very concerned about that.
Councilmember Bond, that's a very good question. Our officers still have cleaning supplies and face masks available at all of the units and all of the zones. So we are able to clean our own vehicles. Currently, the contract to have the cars washed at a location in the city has expired, and we are still working with the city to obtain a new contract to have the vehicles washed. But as far as the decontamination, we do have cleaning supplies that we are able to clean our vehicles ourselves. So we do have that available for the employees of the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay. So I guess it's somewhere in procurement, the letting of the contract for the regular washing and maintenance. So we'd have to. Can you bring us an update at your next report as to where that is?
Yeah, I can do that. We can give you an update as far as what the contract status is for the cleaning of the vehicles.
Now, I know that this might be a stretch, but in the consideration of what to do with the quote-unquote use of water boys, it never hurt anybody to wash and clean and detail a car. I mean, and there seems to be an ongoing need. So whether it's APD vehicles or really other city vehicles, that might be an avenue to try to kind of coordinate with some of these young men and bring them in for some type of positive activity and get them, somewhat closer related in activity with police. I mean, I don't know if APD has that interest, but that was the first thing I thought about when this concern was brought to me, and learning that there wasn't a contract. There might be an opportunity to have some of these young people come in and learn how to clean and detail vehicles, which is a marketable skill for a young person, for a young entrepreneur. But with that, that's my last concern, because I understand that our corrections chief is coming on to talk about the issues with the staffing at Grady, where our APD officers are sitting on inmates. So I'm hoping that they will be able to elaborate on that. But that would end my comments, Madam Chair, and thank you, Deputy Chief Coyne.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Coyne. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Any other questions from any other of my colleagues? Thank you so much, Assistant Chief Coyne.
Thank you.
All right. We're now going to move on to our next presentation, which is the Department of Correction, their quarterly report. We're going to first start off with our Chief Elder Dancy. He's going to give an update on Grady Detention and what's happening there, and then I think it's going to be followed by Major Natasha Johnson. So, Chief Dancy, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and council members, and thanks for this opportunity. I am Elder Dancy, Interim Chief of the Department of Corrections, and as stated today, we will provide our quarterly update, which will be done by Major Johnson. But first, I will address the important question from the last Public Safety Committee meeting regarding Grady Detention. So we'll move forward to the first slide 2. So first, we will begin with staffing at ACDC and Grady Detention. Our authorized strength is 199 employees, 142 sworn, and 57 civilians. Currently, we have 143, 102 sworn, and 41 civilians. And I'll just pause here and just elaborate a little bit. As you know, this committee hosted work sessions towards the latter part of last year and early this year. And some of those work sessions looked at staffing and assignments along with the DOC leadership and the city's innovation team, then led by Matthew Barkley. And the recommendation was, after looking at all the assignments, was 114 sworn and 48 civilians. And at the time, we were looking at our average population of 28 overnight. That has gone up slightly, and Major Johnson will talk about that in her quarterly presentation. But again, currently we are at 102 closer look at the shift, personnel, and post assignments. And these numbers include Grady and ACDC. Personnel will be 28 for day, evening, and morning shift. And these numbers include commanders and supervisors. And within these numbers, we have to cover, of course, 7 days a week. So we stagger the off days and as well as allow leave time and other entitlements. And the post assignments, 19 on day and 16 on evening and morning. And this includes the 6 post assignments at Grady. And after the redeployment plan, all of these assignments were scaled down or reduced to a bare minimum. And these assignments can fluctuate with little notice. For example, when we have a youthful offender, we would have to separate that detainee from the regular population, which would require an assignment. Actually, we currently have one today. And detainees experiencing a mental episode, they would have to be separated, which will require additional staffing. And then when we have increase in population, where we would have to open up an additional pod to accommodate those numbers, and that would require additional staffing. So moving to attrition, as you can see, we are tracking higher year-to-date than all of 2020. 2021, January to year-to-date, we lost a total of 35 employees, 25 sworn. And 2020, the entire calendar year of 2020, we lost 33 and 20 sworn. However, the biggest impact with staffing at Grady specifically came when we lost the private security contract. Towards the end of last year, City Council did not approve the renewal of the contract for DOC due to some legal challenges with the contract, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But with that, we lost 24 security positions at Grady. And during the time when we had those additional 24 positions, the staff count was in a much better place. We had 175 total employees and 127 sworn. So as you can see, with the attrition and the loss of the contract, it made it much more challenging for us. The Grady detainee population, I just wanted to, with this chart, I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of the last 6 months so you can see kind of how dynamic the numbers can be at Grady. These are only the booking numbers at Grady. As you can see, in April, we had 40, went from 40 to 27 in May, June 33, July 30, August 21, and 14 in September. And of September, although at 14, this was very challenging because in that number it included what we call 2 code red detainees because of their status of their high profile. And this required 2 additional officers per detainee as opposed to 1 that usually required. So as you can see, of these arrestees, the next chart there, there are pretrial or city charges or state and felony charges. 57%, most of them were city charges. 43% were Fulton County state charges. And we have spoken to Fulton leadership team, and they have been very responsive and agreed and have begun assisting us. Next slide, please. Custody of APD detainees. And first, I just want to say I definitely get it. As you all know, I was a beat cop with APD and retired as a deputy chief. So and the team understand the importance of taking custody of the arrestees so that APD officers can return to patrol. So, of course, we will continue to closely coordinate with APD. As a matter of fact, just last week, we had a quick meeting with the APD Field Operations Chief to ensure we're on the same page, and this has been ongoing. And they have all of our contact information and frequently communicate and connect with our commanders to work through issues, sometimes even throughout the night. And as I mentioned, we will continue to work with Fulton County leadership. And as you know, they too have a Grady detention component at Grady Hospital. APD has also been working directly with Fulton, and overall we have seen progress with this partnership. And finally, I'll move to our action plan, which are steps that we believe will resolve these issues as we continue to work with our partners. Recruiting and retention. Like many city agencies, DOC has struggled to recruit and retain staff over the last year. Looking at our staffing situation, we believe the quickest way to provide relief was to bring back senior officers who are certified and have institutional knowledge of ACDC and Grady detention. And I'll have to admit, I stole this idea from APD when I worked there as a commander. I utilized recapture retired officers, and it was very beneficial. And so, and I want to thank the administration for supporting this effort, and this committee for assisting with the legislation and getting it approved. And so at this time, it took a little time to get to this point because of the vetting process that we have to go through with the candidates. But I'm happy to report that we plan to onboard 5 recapture candidates this Thursday, and also 1 rehire, and 3 new employees on Thursday. And of course, the recapture and new and rehire will provide an immediate impact in the future. And so, and also I want to thank Jeffrey Norman and his team for assisting with this effort. Additionally, we have approximately 26 candidates in the pipeline and 3 recapture candidates. And we will continue to recruit and participate in job fairs and utilize other outlets to reach potential candidates. But of course, retention is always a concern. There was a lot of concerns and questions from our employees regarding the premium pay. So thanks to you and the administration that this was extended through June 30th, 2022. And that was very huge for our employees. And HR is assisting with the pay study. Thanks to John Keene and Justin, who after meeting with our team, implemented this process. Finally, there are other things that we are currently doing to address staffing, such as overtime, shifting personnel, and it's usually daily, where we move personnel from the jail to Grady to assist, closely monitoring our leave, and looking at shift adjustments. And we will continue to review our model with Grady administration and other stakeholders there to ensure that we are operating as efficiently as possible. And then lastly, as I conclude, I don't want to get lost in this discussion is the hard work our women and men are doing each and every day. On many occasions, our employees come to work 8 hours and end up having to work 16 just so they can assist our APD partners at Grady or fill in the void at the jail. And also, as you know, during the pandemic over the last year and a half, it's been challenging for all city employees, especially essential employees. But I would say that at Grady, where unfortunately, most of our employees contracted COVID. Some had serious symptoms, and unfortunately, unknowingly, some took it home to their loved ones. So I just wanted to recognize our employees for their sacrifices every day. And I know I've heard this committee on more than one occasion thank our employees as well, and we appreciate that. But I know some are possibly listening now, and I just want to make sure that they understand they are appreciated and valued. Again, thank you for your time. That concludes my presentation, Madam Chair, unless there are questions.
Questions?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Bond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chief, for your very thorough and thoughtful presentation, and also thank you for your previous service in APD. I think that you have done a very good job of analyzing and creating solutions to the situation that is existing in Grady. I was going to suggest, but I'm glad you beat me to the punch on recapturing officers that have the expertise and certifications. And it is good news that they'll be in place by Thursday. Given the fact that Fulton County does have an existing unit at Grady, do you have the ability, or have you thought of, in the short term, being able to perhaps hire some of their deputies at an hourly rate until we get our staffing where it ought to be?
Thanks for that question, Councilmember Bond. And yes, we have actually thought about that, and we've had conversations with looking at Fulton County and other officers who are jail certified. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I failed to mention that the legal challenge with the other security company was that it's my understanding from the opinion from the law department that they had to be a certified officer to sit on detainees, where the private security contractors were not. But that is one option that we are exploring. Another one was an option would be retired, recapture APD officers as well. So we haven't finalized that, but yes, sir, those are some of the options that we are looking at.
Okay, that's good. Now, I know that in all the in the political winds of the conversation of the jail, perhaps going to another use probably has driven a lot of the attrition out of the apartment. But please refresh my memory. I thought that some corrections personnel got transferred to other departments over the last 18 months. Did that actually happen? I know that there was some conversations about that. And if it has happened, has any effort been to reach out to some of those individuals to see if they would like to make some extra money or do some overtime at Grady?
No, sir. There were no employees transferred to other departments. We had one civilian employee who volunteered and went over to APD, but none were transferred. We just kind of lost employees through natural attrition. Some went to other agencies, some left corrections and law enforcement altogether. Some went over to Fulton County. So the various reasons. We just lost one this month who went back to an old job that they had that was not law enforcement related. So, but no, sir, no one was moved to other locations.
Okay. Well, as I close, I want to thank you for your work in addressing this, and also thank the partners in the administration, as you mentioned, Jeffrey Norman, and of course folks in the mayor's office for trying to address this as quickly as possible, because, having worked in corrections a generation ago, Grady Detention is a very important place, not only because of the present situation where it's pulling an officer off the street, but it's just people don't anticipate how dangerous it actually is to spit on an individual, particularly at Grady Hospital, where it is not a secured facility. That literally anybody where an inmate might be stationed or housed is an open floor that anybody can walk into Grady's building and get on the elevator and head right for that room. So making sure that those individuals, you have to maintain the care, custody, and control of the individual, but you also have to maintain the awareness to protect the public that's employed there, or maybe visiting someone else in the hospital there. And so, if you can, if I would ask that you could give us an update in 2 weeks, so that we can know how far along we are. This is an ongoing concern until it's fully addressed. And I would ask that you would be able, to come back and to do that, to keep us abreast of what the progress is.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak.
All right. I just wanted to give clarity, Mr. Dancy, on literally on the when we look at that pie chart you had with Grady detainees, Fulton County has 43% and ACDC has 57%. So there is someone from Fulton County who's there with their detainees. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, they do have a Grady detention component at Grady Hospital, same as ACDC.
So are there ever times that we're overlapping or anything like that? Just paint me the picture in terms of if they're detainees from Fulton County, which is a whole different perspective of people who are actually detainees compared to the city of Atlanta. Are they on the same floors? Are they together? I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to understand. Do you know? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I think hopefully I understand your question. If not, please stop me. But so the arrestees that have state charges, such as ag assault or whatever, murder, and if they require medical attention, the officer would take them to Grady, and they will be initially booked in. And historically, what has happened is the Department of Correction has assisted APD with those officers. But at the end of the day, once those detainees are discharged from the hospital, they are transported directly to the Fulton County Jail, not ACDC. So we've been working with our partners there, and they have stepped up, and we're making a lot of progress where they are transferring those detainees that are admitted or discharged and taking custody and control of them there at Grady Detention. And of course, the ones with city charges or a combination of city and felony charges are being are coming. They will ultimately, once discharged, come over to ACDC, and so we are taking custody and control and booking those detainees.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So when Fulton County bring in their detainees from Fulton County, are we actually taking care of them also? Or are there any folks in Fulton County who's doing that? Are we doing all of that? Are we doing everything at Grady?
Oh, I'm sorry. So no, when Fulton County is taking custody and control of their own detainees, if they make an arrest or charge someone, we only assisting with APD officers' arrest. And what I mentioned that if the APD officer makes a felony charge, then that's where we would request assistance from Fulton County.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we as the city was not taking care of Fulton County and our, so two different entities, two different types of arrests, is that we were not carrying the load for both. So I hear what you're saying. I think what you're saying is even though APD may make an arrest, that arrest may verbally say that there was something that happened where these detainees have to go to Brady Hospital as opposed to going directly to jail because something happened in terms of them being hurt or whatever. Then when they come down to Grady, that's when at that point we are there in terms of detainees from ACDC. But once they go to, and even eventually these guys may go to Fulton County ultimately based on the charge. Is Fulton County at all down at Grady Hospital helping us with that in terms of whatever happens? So it's only until once they get in. Once they get in, is there a swap off or say, hey, Fulton County, this guy, even though this guy or lady, whoever, even though they're in hospital, they're up under your umbrella, or are they all still up under the umbrella of the Corrections Department? Did I confuse you?
If I understand you correctly, so we, as I mentioned, historically, we have assisted with all of those detainees, but recently we've reached out to Fulton County's leadership, and they have agreed and they are stepping up to assist with those detainees that are going to be transferred from the hospital directly to Fulton County Jail. So I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly.
No, I think you are answering it correctly, but I guess the other questions I'm just getting up. I don't know if you have the answers. You can bring them back next time. So Fulton County that could be the city of Atlanta, APD. But what about folks who may come to Grady from East Point? That's still Fulton County. People who come from College Park, that's still Fulton County. Do we take care of them also?
No, those agencies usually sit on their own detainee if they require medical attention. But I just want to be clear now, there are some detainees that APD arrests that has Fulton County charges. We are assisting with some of those, and this is the relationship that we are trying to work through with Fulton County.
I got you. I think what you're saying is, if they're arrested in the city of Atlanta, and of course they're still the county, then those are the ones we work on. But if they're brought to Grady, because Grady is also defined as a metro hospital, so you may bring folks from other cities there that literally are next door to us, then they basically would not be up under the umbrella of us in terms of correction that may be up under Fulton County. We have some folks there who would actually interact with the folks from the other counties, right? I mean, other cities, not counties, other cities. Am I confusing you?
Yes, ma'am. Usually what we've seen is they take custody and control of their own detainees. So they usually, if it's East Point, for example, East Point officer, I would usually sit with that detainee until they're transferred to until they're discharged at least.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to understand. All right. In terms of your load. All right. Thank you. You've answered my questions. Anyone else have questions? All right. We'll move to the next part of the report. Thank you so much, Chief.
Wait a minute. Madam Chair, this is Councilmember Winslow. I have a quick question. How many inmates do we have in the jail, and what is the capacity of our jail in terms of how many prisoners we can house?
Good afternoon, Councilmember Winslow. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And welcome on board.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Our capacity, current capacity, is a little over 1,300. And so the numbers, of course, of overnight detainees fluctuate, and we'll give you the specific average with this next presentation. But it varies.
Okay. I thought you were done with your presentation. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, ma'am, that's okay.
Okay.
But it does vary. Currently, right now, we have 29 detainees that's in the jail. Yesterday, I think that number was closer to 40. So it fluctuates, but we'll go into a little more details with the next presentation.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief Dancy. Appreciate you. We're now moved to our next part of the presentation, which is going to be, I believe, is going to be Ms. Johnson, right? Major Johnson. Is Major Johnson there?
Ms. Linda. Yes, I believe she was with the Chief Dancy. We're checking. Thank you.
Madam President, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Ms. Johnson.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
President and other committee members. I'm Major Johnson. I'll be following up Chief Dancy's presentation to include the operations of the City Detention Center. Starting out with our Covert Report, we're currently operating only essential internal and external customers are being allowed into the building. We are conducting contactless temperature checks, mask mandates, as well as social distancing. And currently, to date, we've had 62 employees be affected by COVID-19 and 2 detainees. Next slide. Looking at some of our key accomplishments, we have partnered with Someone Who Cares, who actually comes in, offers HIV testing to detainees on a weekly basis to get them started with access to medication, mental health counseling, as well as offer housing assistance. Second partnership is with Emory, as well as Grady Department of Psychiatric and Behavioral Health, so that we can conduct evaluations, medication management, crisis counseling, as well as inpatient referrals. This is done on a twice-weekly basis, and we are doing this virtual at this time. One of the things that we stopped due to COVID, we've been able to reenact is our partnership with the Department of Corrections, using Clayton State Transitional Center to work with code enforcement as well as public works to cut and close properties, as well as working with the HOPE team. Next slide. Other accomplishments, we passed our state fire marshal safety inspection, as well as the Georgia Department of Natural Resources inspection. And since 2016, the department has maintained its 100 on the health inspection for our kitchen. We are currently in compliance with the U.S. Marshal inspection as well. Next slide. When we look at the booking or intake process, for the first quarter, we averaged 776 bookings with an average daily population of 45 days. To your right, the graph shows pre-COVID,
COVID as well as current to date. So just to give you an idea of how the numbers are trending due to arrest. Next slide. We're still currently working with a virtual court with municipal court operating Sunday through Friday. And again, we've had in-custody court hearings for the first physical quarter of 2022. July being 392 court hearings, August 387, September 402. Again, to your right shows you the difference pre-pandemic and then current. Next slide. And of course, when staffing allows, we continue to partner outside of the jail to make a difference as much as we can by participating in backpack giveaways, National Night Out. Next slide. And also community events where we can participate and show our thanks to our community. Upcoming events will be the Warming Center, where we're normally providing food preparation as well as delivery services to the Warming Centers and laundry services as required. And that ends the presentation. If you have any questions, we'll be free to answer.
Thank you, Major Johnson. Mr. Bond, I believe you had a question, or was it Ms. Winslow, in reference to the answer your question in terms of your report? Was that you, Ms. Winslow, that want to know how many?
Yeah. The question was answered. It was.
Okay. You have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I have a question. So I see when you say you're partnering with Clayton County in terms of detainees for cleanups in partnership with Public Works and all of that. Now, are these Clayton County transitional centers, are they actually coming and doing work inside the city of Atlanta?
Well, I appreciate both of you, and thank you for being patient. And
Ms. Winslow, can you mute your phone, Ms. Winslow?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Winslow, please mute your phone. Major Dancy, the inmate work detail. Can you go back to it? We were talking about the Department of Correction established the Clayton County Transitional Center. So how do they work with us as a city?
What we do is when we originally established the PAT 3 program and the inmate work detail, we partner with the Department of Corrections, and we would utilize those detainees that were in transitional centers from Clayton, Atlanta, as well as Metro. So they will come in, we'll go pick them up, and then they'll assist us throughout the city.
I just assume that you all had stopped that program like that. That's good.
We originally did due to COVID, because with the state corrections, individuals were not being allowed out of the facilities due to COVID, the spread of COVID. But at this point, we've been able to slightly increase the number. So it's not as large as it was at one point, but we're trying to help in some areas with code enforcement as we have the staff available.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there other questions from my colleagues? Other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Major Dancy. I appreciate you. Johnson, I said Dancy. Major Johnson, we appreciate you. Thank you for your report. We will now move on, Ms. Lindo, to our next part of our agenda, the consent agenda.
And we have claims with favorable and unfavorable recommendations. We'll take the favorable claims first. That's items 1 and 2. I'd like to make a motion to accept the favorable claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
All right. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we need to capture anybody else who wants to do a verbal vote?
The vote is closed. Madam Chair, that's 6 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are favorable.
All right. Thank you. We'll now move to items that are unfavorable, and those are items 3 through 6. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. At 6 yeas, 0 nays. Those items have been endorsed.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We're now at item J, ordinance for first read. Can you sound that first read, Ms. Lindo?
Yes, Madam Chair. That's ordinance 2010-0832. This is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta Police Department to enter into a lease agreement with Wellstar Atlantic Medical Center Incorporated, a Georgia not-for-profit corporation, for approximately 1,665 square feet of office space located at 340 Boulevard Northeast, suite listed herein, Atlanta, Georgia, 30312, for the Department of Police Zone 6 mini precinct, commencing retroactively on October 1st, 2021, and ending on September 30th, 2023, at a lease rate not to exceed $1 per year, and authorizing the expenditure to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We will accept that in as the first read. We will now move on to our regular agenda, ordinance for second read. Ms. Lindo, would you actually sound item number 2, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's 2010-0781. This is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta Police Department to enter into a third amendment to lease agreement with KDI Atlanta Mall LLC, a limited liability company, for approximately 1,927 square feet of office space located at 2841 Greenbrier Parkway, Southwest, suite number listed herein, Atlanta, Georgia, for the Atlanta Police Department Zone 4 Greenbrier Mall mini precinct, commencing retroactively on April 1st, 2021, and ending on March 31st, 2024, waiving Article 10, Section 2-1546 of the Procurement Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and authorizing the expenditure to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I'll take it entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there a second? I'll second. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. That's 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We're now at item number 3. What you found that, Ms. Lindo?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's ordinance 2010-0817. This is an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Ellis to establish the Disabled, Elderly, and Veteran Diversion Program for the purpose of ensuring that eligible participants may bring their property into compliance with Part 3, Code of Ordinances, Land Development Code, Appendix E, Atlanta Housing Code of 1987 of the City of Atlanta, to deposit all fees collected from the Disabled, Elderly, and Veteran Diversion Program into the general fund of the city pursuant to Section 62-46, pretrial diversion fee of the City Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Lindo, I don't know if I got a call earlier that says that they're going to hold this for today. Mr. Hillis, do you want to speak to this? I was told by Ms. Smith they're still doing some technical things in terms of the funding. I don't know, Mr. Hillis, do you want to speak to this? This is your paper. Mr. Hillis? I believe Ms. Talley.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was on mute. Motion to hold this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a motion to hold.
Second.
I'll second. Oh, thank you, Mr. Bond. Thank you. There's a motion to hold and there's been a second. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
All right. Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
The vote is closed. At 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been held in committee.
Thank you. So now move to item number 4, Ms. Lindo.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's 2010-0819. This is an ordinance by Council Members Antonio Brown, Andrea L. Boone, and Michael Julian Bond to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10-92B of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, so as to provide an exemption from the distance requirements for package stores licensed to sell malt beverages and or wine by the package listed in Section 10-88.1 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for one package store located in 901 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. Is there a comment or a motion?
Move approval.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there a second?
Winslow, second.
Thank you, Ms. Winslow. There's a motion and a second. We're ready for the vote. Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
I'm online now, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Hillis?
Mr. Hillis.
The vote is closed, Madam Chair. Yes, the vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable.
Thank you. We're now moved to resolutions. Item number 5. Ms. Lindo, would you sound that, please?
Madam Chair, we do have a substitute, and I believe it changes the captions. If I can have a motion to bring the substitute forward.
Motion to bring the substitute forward. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is second by Mr. Bond. We're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. Will everyone please vote?
Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. I think we have everybody else online, right, Ms. Lindo?
Yes, Madam Chair. The vote is closed at 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item has been substituted. So this is a resolution by Council members Joyce M. Shepherd, Tonia Brown, Dustin Hillis, Carla Smith, Matt Westmoreland, Cleta Winslow, Andrea L. Boone, Jennifer N. Ide, Amir Faroki, Marcy Collier Overstreet, Natalie Archibald, Andre Dickens, and Michael Julian Bond, as substituted by the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement on behalf of the City of Atlanta with Fulton County, Georgia, by which the City of Atlanta and Fulton County, Georgia would agree to create and establish the Center for Diversion Services for an additional term of 2 years, which shall be renewable annually upon Atlanta City Council approval, to aid the desire of the City of Atlanta and Fulton County, Georgia, to transition away from legal system responses that utilize jails or arrests for concerns related to homelessness, mental health, substance abuse, and poverty, and for other purposes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this substitute was emailed along with the IGA to all the committee members.
Yes, if you all check your emails, the substitute was emailed along with the IGA, the very detailed IGA, which I think is really good. And again, this legislation specifically is talking about us beginning the process of an IGA and an MOU with Fulton County, specifically using a portion of ACDC for a diversion program. And that would be in collaboration with PAD, Grady Hospital, and Fulton County in terms of funding, capital improvements, the whole 9 yards. And I believe I'm very proud to say that most of our council members are supporting this. So I'm asking for your support and approval today. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I guess just the timeline on when this will be initiated. Does it require any physical build-out of the jail in any portion? I mean, how will it work? I mean, will it be on the, I guess, the administrative office side? What is the timeline for implementation?
Well, our goal, Mr. Bond, if we can get, and Fulton County is going to vote, hopefully this will come before Fulton County Board of Commissions next Wednesday when they have their Board of Commission meeting, where this is an IGA between Fulton County and the city. So we have to both agree to this. Once that happens in terms of funding, and by the way, we have been in negotiation with Fulton County and the Commission, as well as on the city side, the mayor's office. So this is something that we're just not arbitrarily doing without having conversation with Fulton County Board of Commission and the county manager. So we are working on that as we speak, and this is the language that we've brought forth in terms of the IGA, the Memorandum of Understanding, and all of that is what you all have in your package. How we propose in doing that is that if you look in your package, it talks about a specific in terms of X amount of dollars will be actually allocated, $2 million something dollars will actually, and I don't have it right in front of me, will be allocated from the city of Atlanta. $2 million something dollars will be allocated from the Fulton County departments, also Fulton County. And that will come to about a value of about $5 million. The HEDC, which is what we as the city of Atlanta own, that comes to a capital approach of about $3 million. We as the city will be actually bringing in that funding for that. And as a result of that, actually Georgia Power has already committed to $100,000 in terms of capital improvements. One of the things that we want to do, Mr. Bond, is as a part of this process, is not whoever comes into our diversion program, we want to make sure that people understand that this is not them being jailed. So part of the capital improvements is going to also require that we do actually a new entry point for our diversion center and begin to interact in terms of how that would happen so that when people come in, because via mental health, homelessness, there's some things contemplated in terms of sobering center, substance abuse, a lot of different things that we feel that should not be under the umbrella of people being locked up. These are entities and things that we believe that if we can help people who are on the street that our police officers interact with, we don't have to put them in jail. We can actually create a portion of our diversion center right now, and ultimately with the goal of ultimately seeing what else we can do with our diversion center. But through that process, when the police officers are dropping them off, they can actually be diverted to a entity of our ACDC that will be actually converted into a place where folks can feel comfortable and calm, and that we can interact with them in terms of wraparound services that will actually help them as opposed to jailing them. So this is the beginning of what we see. As you all know, I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, we went to Houston and we saw a lot of programs and how they did it. So we began to try to duplicate some of those programs in the city that we're in. For the part of the capital improvement, we know for a fact that we're going to have to change the entry point right now in terms of when people are coming in, that they don't have fear that, oh my goodness, the police officers are bringing us in, so now they're locking us up. So part of that capital improvement is going to be actually vamping a portion of ACDC. And there's a couple of floors that we're debating on where we're going to put the folks, and the whole floor will be converted into a program that welcomes people and not feel like they're in prison. And we completely redo those floors in a way where they will have wraparound services and interact with a lot of PAD, Grady Mental Health, the city of Atlanta in terms of a lot of wraparound services to try to help folks in terms of trying to get them back on their feet. So I hope that answers your question.
Unfortunately, Madam Chair, it did not. I appreciate the explanation. I didn't need it. I've signed off to the legislation. What I was asking about is the projected timeline for building this out. How long is this going to actually take? If the Fulton County Commissioners approve next week, are we looking at 6 months, 9 months, a year to make this happen? Because, at the same time, the negotiations between the mayor and the sheriff broke down around this very same issue because the mayor was requesting that the sheriff negotiate around this space, which he does not have the authorization to do. And, the sheriff still needs heads for the overcrowding at Fulton County. And so I'm just trying to get an understanding. And once this agreement is signed by all parties, what is the chronological timeline for implementation? What is the projected timeline?
So what we're looking at is a timeline of up to 6 months. We're hoping that if this is approved by this county and the city, is that we will begin to work as much as we can, and that within the next 6 months, we will hopefully have this rolled out. Now, we know that that's going to transition into the next fiscal year, and we will have a new mayor and all of that. But again, we're looking at a 6-month period. This contract also that we're talking about with this MOU, as in terms of this resolution, this IGA, will be for a 2-year period, not just 6 months in terms of us bringing something forward. But this will be codified into a 2-year program. So within that 2-year program, Mr. Bond, that would give us time to literally talk about things such as what are we going to do? Again, this is not the whole jail. This is a portion of the jail. And as I said earlier, so there's still room left in terms of negotiation for the possibility of jail space. So we're talking about 1 floor, 2 floors. As a matter of fact, there's still clause, and they talked about that we can still continue to have discussions and negotiations on other parts of what else we can do, the county and the city, in terms of collaborating to talk about other parts of the jail and what we want to do with that. So this focus today is specifically on nothing but the diversion center, with the goal of making it that within the next 6 months, we can actually begin to work as soon as we can to have that working, if we can get support from Fulton County also. And then with that, there was language that said that we could continue to have discussions around other parts in terms of negotiation, other parts of the jail and what we want to do with that.
Well, thanks for that, because I know I've had county commissioners reach out to me for follow up on what we passed and what they passed on negotiating on some of these other outstanding issues. So hopefully we can get that underway as well. And it's a high compliment for our administration to work with Fulton County, our sister governments and agencies in the service of our joint citizens that we represent. So I'm excited about this.
Yes, Mr. Bond. I mean, I would tell you from the time that we went on this excursion and back in October or early October, I believe, or September, when we went to Houston, and I was in awe. As y'all know, I came back and did a presentation on it in terms of what was happening in Houston, in Harris County, in terms of how they did their program. And so from the time I came back, this same group of about 15 people, we have been working continuously since we came back to talk about how we can begin to make something happen specifically in the city of Atlanta that would look something very similar to the beginning of something that what Houston is doing. And this is what we finally came up with, which is this IDA, this Memorandum of Understanding. So I've been working with the mayor's office, along with folks from Fulton County. I went and spoke to Fulton County, along with Judge Bruni, people from the solicitor's office over on the county side, along with folks from the mayor's office and the police department on the city side. But since we came back to Houston, we've been continuously working on this to try to come up with what we have today, which is what we have in front of us. We know that there are still some discussions with the sheriff department and other folks in terms of other things. So that's not off the table, Mr. Bond. I just want you to know that. And what we want to do is make sure that we have something that would really jump forward, especially when we was in light. So many people were so excited about what they saw. And they said, let's do something now. Let's not wait. And so this is where we are in terms of that, in terms of creating the first, to be honest with you, I believe, of a collaboration, hopefully that we can get to with the Fulton County and the city in terms of creating collaboration where we can actually work in partnership with PAD, Grady Mental Health, a lot of other folks, Coca-Cola Foundation is the support of it, and to really begin to create a diversion program at ACDC. And still, again, as I said, have a discussion more so in terms of what we're going to do with the rest of the jail, which should contemplate some of the other things that you're talking about, Mr. Bond. Okay?
That was great.
All right. Thank you. So my motion is to approve. Is there a second? Thank you. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
In favor. Okay. Ms. Winslow is in favor. Thank you. Yes.
The vote is closed at 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable on substitute.
Thank you so much. We're now at item number 7, Ms. Lindo, which you found at.
Item number 6, Madam Chair. That's 21R.
I'm sorry.
Yes, 21R, 4128. There's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the reemployment of City of Atlanta Department of Police employee Shirley Lewis, Telecommunications Manager, under Section 3-505A of the Charter of the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Are there questions? Is there a motion? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair.
Ms. Lindo, I'm sorry, Ms. Winslow, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you.
The vote is closed at 6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable.
All right, Ms. Lindo. Now we're at item number 7.
Yes, Madam Chair. That's 21R, 4129. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to correct Resolution number 21R 3692, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on August 2nd, 2021, and approved pursuant to City Charter Section 2-403 on August 11th, 2021, for the reemployment of City of Atlanta Department of Correction employee Vernell Marcus, Lead IT Tech, and Deanna McKenzie, Office Support Specialist, for the purpose of correcting the funding accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Approval.
Thank you. That was Mr. Bond, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Winslow.
Thank you. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. The vote is closed at 68 nays. That item is favorable.
Thank you. We're now at item number 8, Ms. Lindo, which you found that.
Madam Chair, that's 21R4130. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Sonia Borges versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein in Fulton County Magistrate Court in the amount of $3,000, and authorizing said amount to be paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the total settlement amount and for other purposes.
Questions? Is there a motion?
Move approval, Winslow.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you, Ms. Winslow and Mr. Bond. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Lindo.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. The vote is closed. 68 nays. That item is favorable.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We're now at item number 9. Ms. Lindo.
Item number 9, Madam Chair, is 21R4131. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to amend resolution number 21R3874 and authorizing payment in the amount of $6,500 in settlement of the bodily injury claim of Ashley Park against the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there a second?
Second, Winslow.
Thank you, Ms. Winslow. Ms. Lindo, we're ready for the vote.
The vote is open, Madam Chair. The vote is closed. To 68 nays. That item is favorable. That concludes the legislative items, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And there's nothing coming off the tail, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So we're now at the end of our agenda. So are there any other things for the good of the body today, or any announcements or anything?
Madam Chair, I have an announcement.
Light eyes or lot of eyes?
On Wednesday, we will be doing, this is not public safety related, but it is a matter of public information.
Please, hold on, Mr. Bond. Please mute your phone if you're not talking. There's some background behind you, Mr. Bond. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, we will be holding our weekly Hello Fresh distribution this Wednesday. We'll be in 2 locations. We will be on Briarcliff Road in District 6 with Councilperson Hyde at 2 p.m. We will be at 4 p.m. at the Darnell Center on Fairburn Road at 4 p.m. So if you are in need of this distribution or know someone who is, please let them know there's no prerequisite for help. And we will be distributing, again, 8,000 meals this Wednesday, 2 p.m. on Briarcliff, 4 p.m. on Fairburn Road at the Darnell Center with Commissioner Hall and Councilperson Hyde. And thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Anyone else? I do have two. Go ahead. Who's speaking?
Me, Carla. Can I go?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. No, I'm ready. I want to make an announcement before I go.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So there is on Thursday, I will be participating with Jose Help grand opening. If y'all remember how we advocated for Jose Help and really getting them into their new facility, well, they will be actually having their grand opening on this Thursday, October the 28th, at 10 o'clock a.m. at their new location of 2545 Forest Hill Drive in Atlanta. And that's in my district, I'm proud to say. I will be there, and I welcome you all to come and welcome Jose Williams to our new facility on Forest Hill Drive. And looking forward to seeing you all there. So that, again, that's at 10 o'clock, 2545 Forest Hill Drive. And then right after that, I will also be leaving there and going with, in conjunction with the Atlanta Apartment Association and the Atlanta Community Food Bank. We'll be giving a food giveaway out on Metropolitan Parkway at Capitol View Apartments, which is at 685 University Avenue. That's an apartment complex that has been taken over by Columbia Residential. And so we'll be there on this coming Thursday at 11 o'clock, right after Jose Feeds the Hungry, back-to-back things that are happening. And we will be there to actually do a food giveaway to that apartment complex. And I also want us to keep in our prayers Mr. Noel Khalil, who was the founder of the Columbia Resident Housing Entity as a housing developer in the city of Atlanta. Mr. Khalil has been in our community for years, actually doing stand-up, state-of-the-art, affordable housing across the city of Atlanta, from one end of the city to the other. I'm almost going to say, I don't know any district that he may not have affordable housing in. I know he's strong in my communities and so many other communities across the city. Mr. Khalil passed this morning, so let us lift him up and his folks, his family in our prayers. But I want to give major tributes to Mr. Khalil and all the work he's done in terms of Columbia Residential. So we'll be at his property on this coming Thursday at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much. Any other comments?
I have a comment, and I knew Mr. Khalil had been very, very ill. He had been battling an illness, and I'm sorry to hear, he fought real hard against it. And like you said, Councilmember Shepherd, I think he's touched just about every district that needed, housing, affordable housing, including Dustin Hillis, my area as well, maybe some 30 years ago. So that's when I first met him. But I do have an announcement. Councilmember Bond and I are doing a job fair on this Thursday. It's going to be at October 28th. It will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at West Hunter Street Baptist Church. And the address is 1040 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, Southwest. And again, that's this Thursday. Amazon will be there, Grady Healthcare, some food service companies, CSX Railroad. So there's going to be some good jobs out there. So if people are looking for work and want to make some good hourly wages, come out this Thursday, the 28th, West Hunter Street Baptist Church. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If we have nothing else, Ms. Smith?
Yeah, since you brought up Noel Khalil, I want to say he's got several properties in District 1. He's always been just a hands-on type person, just such a people person, and he will be greatly missed. Mm-hmm. That kind of made me sick this morning when I heard that. So I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
God bless the soul, Noel Khalil, second.
All right.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. You all have a great day.
Bye-bye.